You don't know your limits. That's not an insult, it's a fact. And David Goggins is here to make sure you never stop finding out just how far you can go. Goggins opens Never Finished with a reminder that comfort is a liar. Even after becoming a Navy SEAL, running ultra marathons, and breaking a world record for pull-ups, he still found weakness trying to sneak back into his life. The title of this book says it all. There is no finish line, and if you think there is, you've already lost the fight. From pain to purpose. Goggins' past isn't a motivational story, it's a manual. He goes back to his early life, where he faced brutal abuse, racism, learning difficulties, and poverty. But he doesn't tell these stories to make you feel sorry for him. He shares them to show what happens when you stop running from pain and start using it. Goggins learned to make suffering a tool. The more he was hurt, the more he realized he could either stay broken or use that pain as fuel. And for him, purpose was born in pain. Not all at once, but step by step, mile by mile, fight after fight. He talks about coming back from injury, surgeries, and setbacks, things that would sideline most people for life. But he doesn't retreat, he reloads. He knows comfort is waiting to pull him back into the person he used to be. That's why he keeps moving. That's why he keeps testing his mind. When you're broken down, dragging your feet through snow, with your lungs burning and legs failing, most people stop. He calls those moments opportunities. Pain isn't a problem, it's a passport. That leads straight into what he calls the savage mindset. The savage mindset. This isn't about being aggressive, it's about being honest. It means doing what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. Goggins says comfort is where dreams go to die. So he does the opposite. He looks for the hardest possible thing, and he does it on purpose. Because if you only train your body when you're excited or inspired, you're building nothing. But if you train when you're tired, cold, injured, or just plain annoyed, then you're building something real. A savage mindset isn't about shouting. It's about choosing not to negotiate with weakness. Kill the governor. Goggins introduces a new concept in this book. The governor. No, not a politician. The governor is the mental switch in your brain that limits your effort. Most people live their entire lives running at 40% capacity. When you feel tired, the governor tells you to stop. When you're in pain, the governor says, quit. It's not there to help you grow. It's there to keep you safe. And that's the problem. Goggins figured out how to rip that switch out and throw it away. He explains how, in ultra-distance races, his body would scream at him to stop. But he kept going because he had trained himself to ignore the false alarms. He didn't reach his limits. He simply stopped believing in them. Accountability 2.0. Now being tough in the moment is one thing, but staying sharp every day takes something else. That's where his system of accountability comes in. If you've read Can't Hurt Me, you might remember his accountability mirror. In Never Finished, he takes it even further. He starts writing down brutal, direct messages to himself. Things like, too soft today, or wake up earlier, are scribbled on sticky notes, pasted where he can't ignore them. He tracks his weaknesses, not to shame himself, but to keep improving. The goal isn't to feel good, it's to get better. If that means calling yourself out for being lazy or sloppy, so be it. Goggins doesn't wait for someone else to check him, he checks himself. And he does it with zero emotion, no coddling, no pep talks, just facts. If he slacked, he writes it down. If he succeeded, he writes how and why. It's not about chasing motivation, it's about measuring performance. Brutal honesty with yourself might not feel good, but it's the only kind that works. Embrace the suffering. Goggins doesn't avoid suffering, he walks straight into it, over and over again. In fact, he signs up for pain. Not just physical pain, but mental pain. He goes back to ultra marathons, back to long-distance bike rides, back to punishing workouts, even after serious injuries. Why? Because suffering isn't a setback to him, it's a way to reset his mind. When he's bleeding, limping, and exhausted, that's when he knows he's growing. That's when comfort has no chance. He believes the average person's relationship with pain is weak. Pain arrives, and people back off. Goggins has flipped that. For him, pain is a signal that he's in the right place, that he's close to something meaningful. Most of us would do anything to avoid discomfort. Goggins chooses it, not because he enjoys pain, but because he respects what pain reveals. You don't become durable by thinking about it. You earn it, in the cold, in the dark, alone, battle the inner bitch. One of the strongest concepts in the book is what Goggins calls battling the inner bitch. That's the quiet voice in your head that tells you to quit early, the one that offers easy options, the voice that whispers, "You've done enough." He says that voice shows up every single day, and every day you have to shut it down. It's not a one-time fight, it's a constant war. To beat that voice, Goggins says you have to create distance from your excuses. He doesn't just rely on willpower, he builds routines that make quitting hard. He creates traps for his lazy thoughts. For example, he sets his clothes out the night before, so he has no excuse not to run in the morning. He plans his training when he's tired, not when he's fresh. The goal is to catch the voice before it speaks, and if it does speak, drown it out with action. Don't rely on motivation. Throughout Never Finished, Goggins keeps coming back to one major theme. Do not rely on motivation. It is not your friend. Motivation is unpredictable. Some days it shows up. Most days it doesn't. And if your discipline is built on motivation, then your progress will be built on sand. He replaces motivation with routine, with discipline, with action. He shares how he wakes up before the world is even moving, before the coffee brews, before the emails flood in, before the excuses have time to form. He's already working. It doesn't always feel good. That's the point. He knows that if he starts strong when he's at his worst, he'll dominate when he's at his best. Motivation is loud and short. Discipline is quiet and permanent. Goggins treats motivation like a bad friend who forgets to show up. But discipline, that's family. It stays, even when you don't want it around. You versus you. And then comes Goggins' final message, the closing argument. The real title of this book, You Are Never Finished. Not because you failed, but because the work never ends. You are the mission. You are the only one who can face your weaknesses. No one is coming to fix it. There's no perfect day, no perfect plan, no cheering crowd. There's just you versus you. That fight doesn't happen once. It happens every time you choose discomfort over ease. Every time you write down what you're avoiding. Every time you face your fear and run toward it instead of hiding. The goal isn't to become perfect. The goal is to become relentless. And if you do it right, you'll always be chasing a better version of yourself. Never Finished isn't a guide to being happy. It's a guide to becoming hard, to becoming focused, to building a life that doesn't crumble when things go wrong. Goggins wants you to become dangerous in the best possible way, not to hurt others, but to outlast them, outlast fear, outlast failure, outlast your old self. If you're ready to truly become the best version of yourself, check out Never Finished by David Goggins using the Amazon link in the description. It helps support the channel, and more importantly, it might be the best investment you make all year. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep growing, keep learning, and take control of your future.